Cumberland, Rhode Island Police Chief Matt Benson was surprised when a package arrived just after Christmas. Inside was a letter from a 10-year-old girl telling them she took a sample of a cookie and carrots that she left for Santa and the reindeer and was wondering if they could take a sample of the DNA and see if Santa was real. Her name was redacted by the police because they hadn't reached out to the family yet. The investigation is ongoing.
Surveillance image of clearly a reindeer in that vicinity that night. We do have information of an individual that was observed in the area matching the description of what people would consider would be Santa Claus. We've tracked that individual down and we're hoping to interview him maybe this week or next.
There's this little girl out in the middle of nowhere in Rhode Island, and she's upset. She's trying to figure out whether or not Santa showed up at her house. Let's watch this video really fast.
Cumberland, Rhode Island Police Chief Matt Benson was surprised when a package arrived just after Christmas. Inside was a letter from a 10-year-old girl telling them she took a sample of a cookie and carrots that she left for Santa and the reindeer and was wondering if they could take a sample of the DNA and see if Santa was real. Her name was redacted by the police because they hadn't reached out to the family yet. The investigation is ongoing.
Surveillance image of clearly a reindeer in that vicinity that night. We do have information of an individual that was observed in the area matching the description of what people would consider would be Santa Claus. We've tracked that individual down and we're hoping to interview him maybe this week or next.
Looking to interview Santa, maybe a couple of reindeer. This little girl, 10-year-old name. 10-year-old girl, by the way, they did release her name now because they talked to her parents. Her name is Scarlett. And she sent in a cookie and a few carrots to make sure that Santa and his reindeer really showed up at her house. There she is with the look on her face of, you guys are BSing me and I'm about to figure this whole thing out. The problem I have with this, by the way, she loves science. Her parents said that she's looking to DNA evidence because she saw how their dogs got the DNA tests done. And she loves how this whole thing works. But I was hoping that they would be honest with this kid. If you guys are watching with children that you're lying to on a regular basis every Christmas, earmuffs, as they say. So here's a close look at the evidence that she sent to them, that disgusting dried out carrot and a half-eaten cookie by someone that was broken into her house, apparently. This is what the police said after they examined that data. This is what annoyed me. While our laboratory was able to apply the most current and technologically advanced methods to solve this case, we aren't able to definitively confirm or refute the presence of Santa at your home. Come on, bro. We all agree that something magical may be at play, so we encourage you to remain curious and look forward to seeing your application to the Rhode Island Department of State Health Laboratories someday in the future, so you might be able to help us solve this case and others. So this turned from first to continue lying to this kid about whether or not Santa showed up at her house and a couple of reindeer, to then saying, hey, you wanna apply for a job since you're so smart? If she's so smart, stop lying to her. If she applies at your organization, are you gonna lie to her then too? You're gonna lie about her pay. They're liars. Listen, Santa Claus did not show up at your house, Scarlett. I know you're not watching, so I can say that definitively. Reindeer didn't show up at your house. These folks, these authorities that you sent this DNA evidence to, like a very responsible, young, smart human being, you know what they did? They lied to you too. And they said something magical may be happening. You know what's magical that's happening? These lies. They continue over and over and over again. Yo, I told my producers yesterday that I never believed in Santa Claus because it's ridiculous. And I'm never telling my kid to believe in Santa Claus because it's ridiculous. And look, we got government agencies, officials. She's never gonna trust the police again, Jackson.
No, I guess from that perspective, we're setting her up for failure. But from another perspective, I thought this was hilarious. And first the chat was cracking me up because they were saying this is a reindeer hit job, or Santa Claus, we was about to give out his identity, so they came and canceled us. And then somebody said this is what happened when this is what happens when you let your kids read. We got man. But I guess I gotta give her some points because she takes initiative from her curiosity. And she goes forward with things. So you gotta you gotta let her know what's up with that. That's great. That's what's
Isn't that embarrassing? You're the adult. This kid comes with initiative, with smarts, with evidence. She saved the cookie that her dad took a bite of, her mother or uncle or whoever broke into the house. And she says, this is the cookie, bro. I need answers. Don't give her answers. Listen, Jackson, were you lied to as a child about Santa Claus like everyone else was?
Yes.
Yes.
For a little bit. And I figured I ended up, I don't even remember how I figured out, but I wasn't like, I think after like maybe like 5 or 6, I knew Santa wasn't real.
Hey kids out there, you should figure it out that when someone comes to your door and knocks and your parents go, who's there? Or then if you have a parent who has guns in their house, it's like, who's at my porch? This is my castle doctrine law, the right to shoot anybody who shows up. But then come Christmas time, some stranger decides to slide down your chimney, break through a couple windows, and eat your food.
Get high off sugar and dairy all night.
Suddenly, these very protective parents are wide open to intruders. That's your first signal, kids. Just saying, in case you don't want, and by the way, they do this, the elf on the shelf is the next thing. We did stories about that. The whole point of this is to scare your children into behaving. Sorry, you guys, like I said, you're not gonna agree with me on this because I'm like one of 5 people who think it. But if you're doing all these different things to scare your children into behaving for the entire rest of the year, try something else. Appeal to them, speak to the humans that they are, rather than going, there's this stranger that's gonna hold back some gifts from you on Christmas if you're not a good kid in April. Let's try something different. That's it's 2023 now, yo. These kids they're searching stuff up at 5 years old on iPads and stuff.
It's the religion of the Christmas spirit. That's basically what it is.
It's doomed to end.
And the coal in your sack is the replacement of burning in hell for all eternity. It's just it's baby steps until you get to there, you know.
I need y'all's comments. I'm the bad guy. I understand. So tell me why I'm wrong. We have like a minute left. Let's see what people are talking about. Oh, maybe this is, I'm gonna assume this is what it's talking. Oh, this is the wheelchair story. We'll talk about that. That's actually way more important. It's really fast on Twitch. Mike Boy from Mayor. I'm glad you guys are talking about this because it is very important. Thanks for doing this story about the wheelchair. Yes, because this is what's happening to so many people that we're not seeing. I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do so. More on that. Really Snarky Dragon. This is again on Twitch. Woot woot. Thank you, JR. Though the broken chairs are only half the problem, we don't have access to the bathroom on the flight. Hadn't thought about that either. First on, last off. And if our chairs are broken at the destination, we still can't relieve ourselves even more. But I thought about that too. They're probably last coming off because there's they need assistance in getting on and off. What if there's a connecting flight? Because I had to deal with that over the break as well. What if there's people that say, hey, we're a little bit late. If you have to get a connecting flight, everyone please let the connecting flight folks off first. What if that person needs the accessibility, the wheelchairs, right? They're getting off last anyway. They're just another traveler, you guys. So a little bit more. Is anybody mad about Santa yet? Here it is. Woody Invincible. My sister and I knew Santa wasn't real, but we pretended he was for a while to get the extra present before we heard about St. Nicholas, though.
Brilliant.
Is that a different guy?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Is St. Nicholas different than Santa Claus? I thought it was the same guy.
He has his nickname,
Yeah, but they said then she discovered about Saint Nick. I don't know, maybe they did it differently in the house. But the elf on the shelf is the latest. It's the latest lie that's told. Another one, Franklin Sharp Splicer 6 says, I can save time. The DNA I sent of Santa, he's black and he's cool. And giving gifts is a sole rule. He plays jazz and always has the ability to cut the rug. If you meet him, just greet him and you'll get a cool hug. Oh, this is a nice poem written, but it's more truth to it than what they gave her from the authorities. Last one here from Twitch from Dinger Dragon says, whenever the mother's life is in danger, this is again about this woman who had the miscarriage and they literally didn't give a damn. It's required by Jewish law to save the mother, not the fetus that might effing die from a stiff breeze. There's a couple different words in there. I had to jump around there. But true, it's a matter of whether or not we're gonna continue to follow this type of lead from these politicians who literally don't care about their constituents. They care about their political careers. It's just the way this is.